Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I am excited to bring you guys what I like to call the nurse's corner. And of course, I've tried to be cute in the logo and emphasizing the RN in corner, of course. But right now I want to bring you guys something that is geared towards nursing. I am a critical care registered nurse, and I guess specifically in this phase of my life, I want to bring something that's geared towards the new nurses, the graduate nurses. I am just going to talk about my experience with the NCLEX. My experience with undergrad was interesting. I am not the person that likes school. Not that there's many people out there that do. I love to learn and all that, don't get me wrong. But my program and my experience, it was just long. I have my bachelor's in nursing, so it was a 4-year program. And what we did that helped us focus, I guess, towards the NCLEX were two things: ATI and the HESI. I'm not sure what either of those mean at this point because, quite frankly, I didn't care then and I don't care now. But we had two of those testing outlets that they used to try and prepare us for the NCLEX. I am not the best test taker. I'm sure a lot of you out there can feel me on that because I had testing anxiety and all this stuff, and I just hated taking standardized tests. It was the standardized test that got me because I did well on my school tests and stuff like that. I made it through, you guys, I made it. But those standardized tests will get you. I had a hard time with my testing experience in nursing school. But you know what, like I said before, I'm a woman of faith, so I believe that all the trials that I went throughout that process obviously put me where I needed to be. I am where I need to be. So all that trouble that I went through in school is over. Amen. So once I made it through the ATI and the HESI, I graduated nursing school in May 2015. Yes. And after that, I went home and just studied. I went to Barnes & Noble all the time and just was studying. I was just looking at random things. Like I would just go into the nursing section and just dive in. I was using random books for questions. I was using Exam Cram, Kaplan, just the question book. I didn't pay for anything extra. What else did I use? Just random stuff that I would find at Barnes & Noble. I pretty much lived there. I took my first NCLEX in Texas in July of 2015, and I did not pass. It was a fail. And if I'm completely honest with you guys, I was heartbroken. And I know I keep saying I'm a woman of faith, but it was really tough. Like, it was really hard because it's just like, you know, I went through all this. If this wasn't where I was supposed to be, like, don't you think you could have let me know in like the first or second year of nursing school? Like, why wait until I'm done to not let me get all the way through? So I was heartbroken. And you know what? It is okay to cry, but you really just can't stay there in sorrow. You have to move forward. I had to reevaluate my life and direction. I went on a few trips. I've been working as a CNA for like 5 years, since I was like 16 up until, you know, through college and all this stuff. So I worked as a CNA in a doctor's office and just kind of did some things to just get my life back in order. And through a new direction, through prayer, through a lot of other things, I decided that I was going to take my NCLEX the second time in Alabama. I took it in September. Now, what I used to prepare the second time was a program called HERST. It was the HERST review that I did pay for. I did pay for the complete review. For me, it was extremely interactive. It was way more beneficial for my experience. And I'll go into the NCLEX itself in a little bit, but yeah, my experience the first and second time were just so filled with anxiety, as I'm sure you guys can understand, especially if you've taken it already. And if you haven't taken it, a little worry and anxiety is normal. You're not crazy for feeling a little afraid, but it's okay. I'm here to tell you that it's okay and you can do it. You can make it through. I took the NCLEX the second time, like I said, in Alabama in September of 2015, and I passed, you guys. And you know what's really crazy? I had the same amount of questions the first and the second time, so you can imagine how I felt. in that testing room. Just like, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I cried in the testing room both times. Like the proctors were just like, baby, it's okay, you can do it. But anyways, got the same amount of questions, failed the first time, passed the second time, you guys. That was September of 2015, and I started my first job in October of 2015. I want to go back a little bit and tell you guys about how the NCLEX works. I'm sure if you're in nursing school, they've already kind of done an overview, the basics. There's a minimum of 75 questions, a maximum of 265 questions, and it's an adaptive, computer adaptive learning type of style, meaning you get a question right, it gets a little harder. You get it wrong, it gets a little easier, and it kind of goes like that, whatever. I don't want you guys to let that psych you out like it did for me, because in my head, I'm just like, oh, this question's harder. I must have did okay. And then it gets easier and you're just like, oh. But yes, do not let the adaptive questioning psych you out during the test, because you'll be trying to think, is this a harder question? Is this an easier question? How am I doing? What question am I on? Why hasn't it shut off yet? And honestly, after question 75, your mind automatically goes into, when is this thing gonna shut off? So I want you guys to try and stay focused while you're taking the test, because when they tell you about the adaptive component of the NCLEX, it really can psych you out while you're taking it. So try not to let that psych you out like it did for me, because like I said, I was boohooing in the testing room and this just was not cute, okay? With understanding how the NCLEX works, the only real way to prepare for it, in my opinion, is just to practice questions. Because, I mean, there's so much information. You've already went through 4 years of school, 2 years of school, whatever program you went through. And it's just like, specifically practicing for the NCLEX, you really need to practice the style of NCLEX questions. And I tried to get away from that so much, but that was just the way it was. What I will say is that in addition to just practicing questions over and over and over and over, and I know some of my friends did like 100 questions a day, or, you know, find what works for you, find what's reasonable for you in your situation. I know some people are mothers, fathers, you know, they're doing things. So find what works for you and stick to a system of just practicing questions. But in addition to that, you do need to get a comprehensive overview of maybe systems, lab values, medications. Like, those things are important, so you need to go over those as well as just questions, because that is core information that you need to know or need to be refreshed on. Those medications will get you. They'll ask you, what do these things do? What are the side effects? Stuff like that. So you have to know medications, just the basic lab values, BUN, creatinine, you know, what's the normal lab values of this, that, and the other, like random stuff. You need to know your lab values. And just a good system overview will do you well. We can't get away from it. The fluid and electrolytes, cardiovascular, neuro, all these systems, you need to go over those as well. And what I would recommend in going over those systems and lab values and medications is find the learning style that works for you. That is what I learned during my second go round when I chose the Hearst review, which was more interactive and which met the needs of my learning style. And I want to talk about 7 different learning styles, and I'm going to go over them really quick because this video is already long. The first learning style is visual. That one's obvious. You like pictures, images, and kind of like spatial understanding. Like, you can see things, where they are, where they go, stuff like that. The second one is aural. It's weird because I would just say auditory. It's auditory and musical. And obviously you like learning through sound and music and stuff of that nature. Third one is physical or kinesthetic. You prefer to use your body, your hands, and just the sense of touch. You like to get your hands on it, put your hands on it, feel it, get a feel for it, all that stuff. The fourth one is verbal. So you like to use words, and that one also goes in hand with, like, if you're able to teach something, that means you understand something, so verbal. The fifth one is logical. So you like to use reasoning, logic, and systems. The sixth one is social. So you like to learn interpersonally. You like to study in groups and things of that nature. The seventh one is solitarity. You like to work alone. You like to work by yourself in your own space, in your own zen, in your own way. So those are 7 different learning styles that you can incorporate. You can mix, match, combine. Mine is a combination of a bunch of different things, but you need to find that. Be diligent, find your focus, discover your learning style, incorporate all of that knowledge into that learning style. Practice, 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 and realize that you are not your testing scores. You are not defined by some test that a group of somebody's created to test you, like to just test your knowledge about one specific thing. So do not get caught in that mentality that you are your test scores, because you're not. And I am here to encourage you guys that you can make it through. It doesn't matter how bad you may feel you are at taking tests, how many times you've taken the NCLEX already and failed. You can do it. You've made it through your program of nursing already. You are capable. You are competent. Just put in the work and you can do it. Now I'll give you guys some more videos about my experiences as I go throughout my career and the start of my career and stuff like that, and my nurse residency program and everything. So stay tuned. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.